Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shah, Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Kohak Badash. All praises, honor, glory, love, respect, faith, and power, and trust, and all credit to my Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and my Heavenly Big Brother, Yahweh Shah. Thank you so much for what you've done, what you're doing, and what you're going to do. Double honors to your apostles and elders and bishops of GMS, Great Millstone, who I learned from, and all the men scattered all over the world, teaching this truth and none but the truth in the name, spirit, and the power of Yahweh Bashim Shah, trying to put a spiritual bug in your Hebrew Israelites' ears, you so-called blacks, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, Middle Indians, and you speckled birds. And what is a speckled bird? That'd be a Hebrew Israelite that look like some of the heathen nations, like, for example, a Hebrew Israelite that look like a so-called white person, so-called Chinese person, etc., etc. Got some videos lined up related to war, especially war here in this country against you Israelites, with Esau coming with that great wrath on you Northern Kingdom tribes, you so-called Latinos, Native Indians, Hispanics, and on you so-called blacks, Haitians, Dominican Republic, well, not Dominican Republic, I mean your Northern Kingdom too. Anyway, what the fucking, you Israelites, coming after you Israelites over here in America. And plus, war all over the world with nations against nations and kingdom against kingdom. I'm going to play these videos, I'm going to get into the scripture my best ability, say whatever God say through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Shah, the Holy Spirit, the Kurhak Badash, Lord, will it be on me, let's get it.
Alright, so ICE has been on a murder spree, as you all know. You know, there was one in Texas the other day. They shot somebody who was on his way to work. Horrifying stuff. Then there was one in Maine. That guy's name is Joan Sebastian Guerrero. So he was here legally. He was authorized to work. He had a social security number. He was not a target of an ICE investigation. And according to DHS, he did not try to kill ICE agents. They said, oh, we wanted to protect the public, is what they said. Flat out insane that this guy was killed. By the way, there's also some speculation, some rumors, I don't know if it's true, but that this guy was actually right-wing, and this guy was MAGA. And MAGA guy getting killed by MAGA.
Why that shit even fucking matter?
Policies. It's actually a thing. It happens quite a bit, actually. You know, like people...
But it is something.
Who vote for Trump...
But that shit doesn't matter.
And they lose their Medicaid and they die because they can't get their health care. What'd you learn, right? Like, horrible, horrible stuff. None of these people should be dead. So Trump came out and said the following. We learned that, hey, ICE says they're going to stop these traffic stops. Because it was questionable whether or not they were legal in the first place, right?
He said none of these people should be dead, but the Lord made that happen. Whoever perished being innocent.
Right? But then ICE comes out and says, okay, we're going to stop this for now because they've killed multiple people this way. It's a thing, right? Trump catches word of this, and he says, the men and women of ICE are doing a great job. When that has to be done, crime is way down in America, in many cases with numbers that haven't been seen in decades. The open border policy of Sleepy Joe Biden allowed 25 million people to pour into our country unchecked and unvetted. Many were criminals, and we have to get them out. In order to do this, we must be strong, tough, and smart, and we cannot give up one of ICE's most important and effective crime-fighting tools, the traffic stop. So, out of desperation, they shut it down, trying to save the midterms, trying to stop people from being killed, right? And then Trump goes out there and goes, wrong, let's kill more people, let's do more of that. So that lasted literally less than a day. It lasted less than a day, and then Trump came out and reversed the decision. Okay, well, that's something. Let's continue. ICE has been on quite a spree. Florida man killed during ICE traffic stop. This was during the period where they said it was frozen, too, by the way. Same day, agents were ordered to pause vehicle stops. 28-year-old man was hit by a semi-truck. He jumped out of his car and fled on foot. After agents followed him to a gas station, ICE claims it was an encounter, not a true traffic stop. That is the third death that occurred during a vehicle pursuit in traffic in just the past week. ICE has supposedly ordered a temporary nationwide pause on most vehicle stops. The identity of the man and his citizenship status have not been released. Incident occurred on State Road 16 in St. Augustine, Florida. Let's take a look. Here we go.
The 28-year-old man crossed the road and was hit. He died on the scene. We've discovered this is the third death involving ICE in a week across the country.
Our Christina Burgess is following the story. She joins us.
Third death. Probably in this city or area. But anyway, man, it's showing you war on you Israelites, especially on you Northern Kingdom. So you so-called Latinos, Hispanics, they showing you how they feel about your ass. You ain't one of them people. Hell no. Esau letting your ass know. You getting your wake-up call. You getting your whatever the hell. They pulling your card pretty much.
It's now live. So Christina, what have you...
Time for you to seek the Lord and fuck that damn Jesus Christos, nigga. Better seek Yahweh Bashim Shah.
learned?
Jesus Christos, Virgin Mary ain't gonna do jack shit pistol for your ass. Hell nah. None of that shit, but Yahweh Bashim Shah, you seeking him. Well, I'm supposed to skip this.
Well, Heather and Anthony, the scene is now clear from this morning, but in the last couple of hours, we did learn from Florida Highway Patrol that 28-year-old man was fleeing across this busy state road that's to my left when he was hit by that semi-truck. The Florida Highway Patrol also telling us that ICE and Homeland Security investigation agents responded to this Wawa on State Road 16 right before 7 this morning. Troopers say that 4 people inside a vehicle ran from the area after encountering the agents. Investigators say that one of those individuals, a 28-year-old man, ran across State Road 16 and into the path of an oncoming semi-truck. The driver of that truck did...
And funny thing, the agent Might not have been the ICE agent that shot and killed him. Might not have been a Edomite. Could have been an Israelite. Yeah, doing the bidding of Esau, kill his own people. Shit.
Did stop immediately and tried to render aid, but the man died at the scene. Florida Highway Patrol is investigating the fatal crash, and while any questions about the federal encounter are being referred to ICE and Homeland Security at this time. And First Coast News, we did reach out to ICE earlier this afternoon, and they did tell us that they are expecting to release a statement from the Department of Homeland Security shortly, and we received that statement.
How about this one? ICE set to deport a single mom, leave her 1-year-old baby behind, abandoned at the hospital. Agents refused to release the infant into custody of her own mother, even though doctors cleared the girl to leave the hospital yesterday. Now her baby, a U.S. citizen, is detained and separated from her mom. Daughter has been hospitalized in intensive care for almost her entire life. She has a serious genetic condition requiring specialized care, prior heart surgeries, and a feeding tube. Her mother, Maria, has lived in the New York metropolitan area for the past 8 years. They want to deport a mother who's the only caregiver for this precious baby. Here we go. Watch
Leaving would mean leaving behind the most important battle of her life, that of her youngest daughter. At just 1 year old, the little girl has spent almost her entire life in a hospital with a genetic condition. She has survived heart and tracheal surgeries and depends on a feeding tube to stay alive.
Because of her, I came to this country because I don't want to leave, because I know that the care they receive is better here than in one's own country, because Guatemala is not going to be a country that has everything that is here.
The baby is supposed to be discharged on July 7, but the mother claims that a social worker at the hospital told her that they will not be able to release her due to her immigration status. What did the judge say at your meeting?
He told me at the appointment when I went to the courthouse that he ordered my deportation, because I went to my last courthouse and he ordered my deportation right away, and told me that if I appealed, I would tell you the same thing in 3 months. And I think that if something happens to me, I don't know who they will stay with, except my daughter. Or a healthy daughter, I wouldn't worry, because I know that anyone can adopt them, or anyone can take care of babies.
After 8 years in this country, this Guatemalan mother says that there is only one priority in her life: not being separated from her daughter.
Do you have hope that something will change? Yes, I have hope. I don't lose faith. It's the only thing that keeps me going. And I think that's what keeps me going, that I can go out and nothing happens to me. Because I always ask God to take care of me, because my daughter depends on me.
But you gotta know his name, baby. It's Yahweh, who the word they call God, and Yahweh Shah, who the word they call Jesus Christos. But it's Yahweh and Yahweh Shah. But I'm guessing once she said that, you gotta have faith in God. You know what this motherfucker gonna do. He gonna say, God, God, you believe in God? Cause you're atheist or some shit, whatever.
My daughter depends on me, and if something happens to me, my daughter will be left alone.
So understand that all this stuff starts happening as soon as they ramped up deportations again. 2,000 deportations a week, 2,000 arrests per week, I should say. Here's another one. ICE punched man repeatedly in his groin
Guess he didn't say anything about it.
and back after already pinned to the ground. Bro, why are they taking his pants off? A witness asked. This is the sort of stuff that's happening on a daily basis.
Yeah, these niggas trying to rape you Israelites. Shit.
Now, it's a roving gang of thugs. That's what it is.
Hey, look like Drake trying to, yeah. Look like another Drake. Looks like another Drake.
Oh my God, they're punching. Oh my God. Wow. Oh, Nina. Oh. Oh my gosh. Why do you kill him like that?
Nigga pin him in his fucking kidneys.
What are you about to do? Oh my God, why are they hitting him? Hey, wow.
Shit. All for the sake of Esau. They need that damn check. Well, anyway, you know, I don't have anything to say about these Jakes over here that's ICE agents, but they some bitch ass niggas. It taking 5 motherfuckers to beat up one dude. Goodness gracious. Man, well anyway, Amos chapter 1 verse 11. Thou said the Lord Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually forever, or continuously. I meant to say continuously, and he kept his wrath forever. And he even got them goons. He got Israelites that appear to be Israelites God dang doing his dirty work. He can't do it himself, but he got somebody getting the doing the dirty work. Anyway, let's see what it's talking about. Sleeper cells, cause more war coming to America. They just getting ready. That green light for them sleeper cells, them foreign troops to get activated.
At Marriott Bonvoy, every journey begins with a call.
Man, I don't give a fuck about this shit.
Well, we have another warning. According to the FBI and to the U.S. State Department, they are saying that Americans should be on high alert because of possible sleeper cells and lone actors. That is here inside the United States and abroad as well. I want to break down what's going on. But here's a comment that I received, or an email that I received. I want to read this to you. This person wrote to me and says this, and I quote, I want to share a horror story that happened to me and my wife.
And you know what's funny? You got all these, oh damn, it just hit me. All these sleeper cells in this country. From Iranian nationalists, from Russian nationalists, from Ukrainian motherfuckers to I don't know who else. Iranian, I did say Iranian, Chinese nationalists. You got some no fucking the double. What they don't even need no them Israeli niggas. That's right, and that's another thing. Them niggas are being used as ICE agents. Them Israeli niggas, Amalek, the IDF soldiers are used for ICE to be ICE agents. Yeah. But what else? Oh yeah, all those damn sleeper cells. They're used as ICE agents. Heck yeah, but how come they're not deporting them niggas? Man, they're not deporting none of them people. They're getting you Israelites though. And they use the Israelites to get Israelites. They getting all these sleeper cells or people that come from other countries to round up you Israelites, really. Talking about illegals. But anyway, I just want to throw that out there.
We were vacationing in Spain.
All right, because they got a lot of damn people from other countries rounding up, and they got their face covered up. Because I know that was a big deal some months ago. Yeah, they found out a lot of them ICE agents are people from other countries, especially IDF soldiers.
And when we were on our way to the airport to fly home, our driver confronted us about being American and how our president, Donald Trump, is creating big problems in the world. Yeah. The driver yelled at us for at least 10 minutes and threatened to take us to his people and let them deal with us. We were obviously scared for our lives and we're just happy to get out when we did. I've never seen people so mad at Americans before in my life, and I travel a lot for work. Okay, so when I was reading this, because I've seen other reports like this before. I've seen some people in Spain as well, and in other European countries where they have gone to these countries and people are harassing them. They've almost pretty much been assaulted. I remember one person, him and his I think his son, they end up getting taken for like hours, pretty much interrogated. They had no clue why. Okay, I want to
say shit. I'm with you. I'm tired of fucking America. I'm tired of that shit. I'm a prisoner of my own country. I gotta come back. I'm on what you say, not curfew, but I got time. I have to come back at a certain time. I'm here right now, but I ain't got enough money to stay here. You know what I'm saying? I guess he talking about people that's in another country. They getting harassed by other. Anyway, I'll just say shit. I'm tired of America too. I'm just over in this country taking a break. I gotta take a break, a breather, because these people are fucking crazy. I'm tired of this shit, and I want out of this bitch.
Explain this though, because what we've been hearing from the FBI for quite some time is that there is a high possibility of either some type of sleeper cell attack or a lone wolf attack here in the United States, abroad as well, but mainly here in the U.S. We saw this back when there's that shooting in Toronto. Okay, so when that shooting happened in Toronto, at the U.S. Embassy, these were people that were trying to inflict harm on Americans. Okay, but the reason this is happening now, okay, we kind of got a new wave of this. It's because of this. President Trump says the United States is reinstating a naval blockade of Iran as the dispute over control of the Strait of Hormuz escalates. Iran is they have a lot of proxies. Okay, they have Hezbollah.
And another thing too, I know it don't matter, but they say sleeper cells and such. It could be, motherfuckers on the MK Ultra. But anyway, I don't even know why I brought that up, but whatever.
Yemen Houthis. Okay, there are many different proxies. Now, here's the thing: they are funding these proxies. They have Hamas as well, but they're funding their proxies with money that they're getting from oil sales. Okay, they're funding their proxies. If Iran's allowed to charge these other countries to use the Strait of Hormuz, they're going to use that money to fund their proxies, which could mean we're going to potentially see more greater nuclear ambitions from them. We could see heightened attacks, right? All this stuff. Well, this is what President Trump did today. President Trump proposed a 20% toll on cargo through the Strait of Hormuz, and he's restarting the Iran blockade. But he says that the United States is going to pretty much run the whole operation. They're going to be guardians of the Strait of Hormuz. Okay, the United States is. As a result, we are going to get paid 20% for this. Okay. Here's the reason why I bring this to your attention. Earlier this week, or last week, Iran said that Israel told the United States that Iran is planning an assassination. It says Israel shared intel on...
Okay, what's that got to do with sleeper cells? I guess he off the topic and on something else. Well, anyway.
Iranian hardliners desire to target Trump, sources say, as Netanyahu looks to influence course of war.
We exposed...
What does faggot? God damn it. And it's too... Okay, I have to skip. Let's go to the next video. If you want to watch the rest of the video, be my guest. They go to title, they go to channel, because these niggas about to give me 2 ads. I probably can't skip neither one of them.
Germany has been ramping up its expenditure on the military. Billions are being spent to modernize the armed forces, and defense companies are getting ready to take advantage of an unprecedented spending spree.
Well, hold on. Yeah, let me go and read this. I forgot about that. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 15. See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. On the topic about sleeper cells, I mean, stay prayed up, because we never know what could happen. These niggas here set up a false flag event with these sleeper and the sleeper cells could be activated at any time doing all kind of stuff. They ain't got to be like all of a sudden complete takeover of the country. No, it could be like this sleeper cell can disrupt, do a cyber attack here one day, and then the next day one sleeper cell could be I don't know, a mass shooter or some shit. I don't know, something. But anyway.
Germany's biggest weapons makers, Rheinmetall, has announced plans to start military production at a plant here in Berlin, but not without opposition from those who warn against what they see as creeping militarization.
It's a sunny afternoon in Berlin, but these protesters are spending their free time speaking up for peace. They believe the decision to convert this auto parts factory to producing casings for artillery shells will promote military aggression and cost lives.
We are demonstrating against Rheinmetall, against the weaponry factory, and also against the whole militarization of the German government that's taking place at the moment.
Rheinmetall, founded in 1889, is one of Germany's oldest arms manufacturing firms. Its history includes supplying weapons.
I figured that. Yeah. Tied with Amalek. Yeah. Having Amalek to build. I don't know what the fuck is going on back then, but anyway.
To Hitler's war machine, a legacy that still shapes public attitudes towards the defense industry. Today, Rheinmetall seeks to be at the leading edge of armaments technology.
Hitler, he's Amalekite too.
Its tanks and other systems are in use in Ukraine, and demand across NATO is surging.
Rheinmetall is a company obviously now going into defense innovation, but what we're learning about war is you still need armor, and you need lots of it, and you need to replace it if it's damaged or destroyed. Rheinmetall had previously made relatively small amounts in batches necessary for nations. Now they're realizing they have to ramp up production and be able to sustain large amounts of production for what we see now as an era of longer wars.
Some have suggested locating a weapons plant in the capital could make Berlin a target in the event of conflict. Many demonstrators are also unhappy because they say Germany is supplying Rheinmetall's weapons to Israel. But switching the factory from making auto parts to weapons parts could bring economic benefits.
Yeah, because I don't see how. Hold on, how they say it?
Also unhappy because they say Germany is supplying Rheinmetall's weapons to Israel. But switching the factory from making auto parts to weapons parts could bring economic benefits.
Could bring, but to who though? To the people who invested in those weapons. But what about the people that are building cars? Well, shit, they ain't nobody buying cars. Hell no, ain't nobody buying cars. So, man, let's go ahead and fire in. They firing a bunch of people too, especially with the Volkswagen plants, and they say they so-called closure plants, but they're really gonna be redesigning the plants so they can make what you see there.
Asked for a comment by DW, Rheinmetall said,
The decision to proceed with the renovation is based primarily on the goal of making efficient use of existing state-of-the-art industrial infrastructure and securing skilled jobs.
Now, you know, all those equipment that have been made or designed to make auto parts, they also have them, they was designed to also make weapons, just in case. Yep.
In the area for the long term.
Germany needs manufacturing jobs. These are good jobs. They're relatively well paying, and the NATO alliance needs more artillery. They need manufacture.
Reactions from local residents reflect the mix of opinion on Germany's increased defence spending.
It's penalties, and you're cooking a chili.
Germany is not waging war against anyone. Germany must produce these weapons for its own protection. That's its right.
Yeah, from Russia.
Right.
I stand with everyone who is in favor of peace. One should not kill anyone, nor should one produce weapons for that purpose, because that's the only reason they exist.
Protests like this reflect a desire to...
Anyway, whatever what she's saying. I'm going to let the video keep playing for a little while, but I want to go ahead and read this. These people protesting over maintaining peace and such, there will be none. It's just going to be war and hate, but not love and peace. Let's get to Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1. When I read verse 1, I'm going to skip down to 5. And to everything there is a season, to a time to every purpose under the heaven, a time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silent, you know, that famine of the word, a time to speak. Right now it's time to speak up, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. And well, there ain't no time with no love or no peace, so that's gone. That's gone, especially when you got the wicked ruling the world, which that be Esau Edom, so-called white man, but he ain't white, he's red, he's a baby dick sucking Jewish faggot nigga named Amalek. And it's that time of hate and war. When these devils are ruling the world, it's time for hate and war, and we at a time of major hate building up and war building up. That'd be World War III.
Keep Germany out of wars and curb the influence of powerful weapons makers. What they don't do is answer the question,
a lot of these motherfuckers, they're gonna be getting them draft letters.
How can Germany keep its hands clean and at the same time step up to defend Europe?
And let's get more. We are joined by DW's chief political correspondent, Nina Haza. So, Nina...
I'm gonna stop it there because I want to hear them talk about some shit.
The war in Ukraine has escalated into a brutal new phase driven by terrifying high-impact aerial weapons. While Moscow has been deploying revamped Soviet-era giants to completely flatten frontline defensive lines, it's Ukraine that is hitting back deep inside Russian territory. In fact, this explosive dynamic has pushed civilian casualties to a devastating multi-year high, thereby forcing a desperate scramble for new air defense architectures. Take a look at this report.
The explosion comes first, then the dust swallows everything. There is no towering missile, no supersonic strike. Just a devastating blast that tears through trenches, bunkers and buildings, leaving behind a crater where a defensive position once stood. This is the Fab 3000, a Soviet-era bomb weighing around 3 tons that Russia has brought back with a deadly upgrade. Originally designed as a free-fall bomb, the Fab 3000 has now been fitted with a correction module. In simple terms, it has become a glide bomb. Released from aircraft far behind the front line, it spreads its wings, uses satellite guidance and glides towards its target, allowing Russian jets to stay beyond much of Ukraine.
And they can't be detected. That's
air defense envelope. The bomb carries nearly 3 tons of high explosives. It is designed not for precision against a single vehicle, but for obliterating fortified positions, command centers and troop concentrations over a wide area. Unlike expensive cruise missiles, these converted bombs are relatively cheap, can be produced in large numbers and are launched in relentless waves by Russian forces. The return of the Fab 3000 comes as Russia intensifies its wider offensive. Kyiv has faced fresh waves of missiles and drones, while Russia continues pressing along multiple sectors of the front. According to the United Nations, June was the deadliest month for Ukrainian civilians in more than 4 years, underlining the growing human cost of the war.
Goddamn blue, and look at her, she just casually walked away like it's no big deal.
President Vladimir...
Really, she just walked away like... And she just walked away. She like, God damn it. Here we go again.
President Vladimir Putin warns that Russia is only going to increase the intensity of attacks.
Our responses will always be mirror-like. Wherever they attempt to strike the Russian territory, we will respond in kind, but our strikes will be several times more powerful. The enemy will feel it. It is already feeling it, I hope, and it will continue to feel it on an escalating scale.
Ukraine is hitting back. Long-range drones have struck oil refineries deep inside Russia. The latest attack targeted Salavat refinery located around 1,300 kilometers of Russia's border with Ukraine. Across Europe, 9 countries have now joined forces to strengthen ballistic missile defense, reflecting growing concern that the conflict is entering an even more dangerous phase. The war is evolving. Cheap bombs are causing strategic damage, and every new adaptation is forcing the other side to find a new answer. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
Harbor Freight, built for two.
Let's now get you some breaking news that's coming from Iran, where Tehran has now released some satellite images revealing its precise strikes on the Drone Command and Control Center of the US 5th Fleet Base in Bahrain. The images show the before and after visuals of the US base that has been targeted in the strike. In a statement issued by the Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, it is said that its forces, in the second phase of their retaliatory operation, hit and destroyed several key military assets at the Sheikh Issa Air Base, including important helicopter maintenance and repair centers, AP-8 electronic warfare aircraft, hangar, and the US Army's Drone Command and Control Center. Alright, so these are images that have been released by the Iranians showing the Iranian precision drone strikes on American military infrastructure in Bahrain, where the Americans have got the headquarters of the 5th Fleet. Now, the images, of course, reveal the precise strike locations of the command and control center of the American military presence in Bahrain. The images also show the before and after of the impact of the Iranian attacks. In a statement issued by the Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, it is said that its forces, in the second phase of their retaliatory operation, have hit and destroyed several key military assets in the Sheikh Issa Air Base, including the important helicopter maintenance and repair centers, the AP-8 electronic warfare aircraft hangar, and the US Army's Drone Command and Control Center.
See what this is about.
Beginning first up with the latest on Iran-US tensions, the battle over the Strait of Hormuz continues, and it is the 5th straight day of US strikes on Iran. The American military said that the wave of strikes targeted Iranian military capabilities used to threaten vessels moving through the Hormuz Strait. Iranian state media even reported explosions in several cities, including Bandar Abbas, Rusk, and Chabahar. Earlier reports had cited blasts around southern sites, including Qashm and Bandar Abbas Khomeini. Bushehr, which is home to Iran's only civilian nuclear plant, was also hit. US Central Command has said that it has separately fired on a ship that attempted to violate its renewed blockade on Iran's ports. Iran, on the other hand, struck US military targets in the region, including in Bahrain and Kuwait. In Iraq, Kurdish forces said that US-led coalition drowned 8 explosive-laden drones over Erbil. Despite renewed hostilities, mediator talks between the two sides have not formally ended. It was on Tuesday that President Trump had threatened to attack bridges and even power plants should Iran not return to talks next week. Questioned by reporters whether he would give a deadline before doing so, Trump had said that he does not give deadlines.
I don't like giving deadlines, but they pretty much know, they know the story. They better behave.
US president also reiterated that Iran badly wants to settle with the US, while adding that Washington would decide whether...
Deadline. I bet you Amalek be giving your ass a deadline. Y'all be like, y'all better hurry up and invade this country, send them missiles out or whatever the fuck.
Or not to take such a step.
You want a tight deadline with Amalek.
We're doing really well with Iran. The Islamic Republic of Iran is not happy right now. Should have been done 47 years ago. Should have been done at least during the 47-year period.
What? Anyway.
And it wasn't other presidents.
And I mean, wait a minute, man. Should have been done. Hell, when y'all first started fighting, y'all shouldn't have been done with that shit days ago. But that shit ran about 100-some days. Heck yeah, y'all started this shit, and then look how long it's been since y'all been at war with them niggas. That should have been done a long time ago.
Didn't do what was right. They should have done it a long time
Yeah.
ago. Would have been much easier. And they want to settle so badly. They don't like what we're doing, and they do want to settle. We'll find out whether or not.
Well, he talking about we shouldn't have done this a long time ago, but no, the Lord the one setting up the peace. The Lord is allowing this thing to not happen until he make it happen.
We settle with them, or we just finish it off.
Iran, however, seems to be pulling away from the Memorandum of Understanding, with Speaker and top negotiator Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, who told state media that Tehran had no reason to abide by the deal if it did not benefit from it. Hormuz's note remains at the heart of the escalating tensions. The escalation came after Trump had said that a 20% toll he had threatened to impose on Hormuz would be replaced by massive trade and investment deals with Gulf states. The US also implemented a blockade of Iranian ports. Iran thereafter said that Hormuz was closed until further notice. The choke point saw low traffic, with a maritime tracker reporting only 21 transits on Tuesday.
Let's see what's next. Iran, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Let me see what this is about.
Front may now be opening in the Iran-US conflict. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has carried out a surprise ballistic missile attack on American military positions in Kuwait. The target, US ATACMS launchers deployed in the Gulf state. Reports indicate that several Army tactical missile systems launchers were destroyed in the strike, with at least 3 direct impacts reported. The attack marks a sharp escalation. For the first time in this latest round of hostilities, Iran has directly targeted major U.S. military assets in Kuwait, a key American ally and home to thousands of U.S. personnel. Iranian state media says the strike was retaliation for a massive American attack on Iran.
Yeah, I can't just play videos of U.S. attacking Iran. I gotta play videos of Iran attacking U.S. bases and such. Yeah, gotta be fair.
In the early hours of July 12, those U.S. strikes reportedly hit more than 140 targets, including coastal military bases and other strategic sites. Tehran's response came swiftly. The IRGC hailed the Kuwait attack as proof of its precision strike capability, and as a warning that American military assets across the region could be within reach. The message from Tehran appears unmistakable. If Iran is hit, U.S. forces across the Gulf could face retaliation. The attack now threatens to push an already fragile ceasefire closer to collapse. The Swiss-brokered agreement signed in June 2026 was supposed to halt the fighting and open a path toward reconstruction, including a reported $300 billion package for Iran. But the truce has come under repeated strain. Tit-for-tat strikes, tensions in the Strait of Hormuz, and now a direct attack on U.S. military systems in Kuwait have raised fears that the conflict could once again spiral out of control. Washington has already warned of harsh consequences for further Iranian aggression. Now, with American military hardware reportedly damaged, attention is turning to the Pentagon and to whether the United States will respond again. Pentagon sources have confirmed damage to ATACMS systems, but no casualty figures have yet been provided. Kuwait has also not issued an immediate statement.
Yeah, they don't want to give you the numbers on that.
But the silence does little to reduce the
casualties.
stakes. The strike raises urgent questions about the security of U.S. bases across the Gulf. From Kuwait to other American military positions in the region, defense systems could be on heightened alert for further Iranian attacks. And the danger extends far beyond the battlefield. Any wider conflict in the Gulf could threaten commercial shipping, disrupt energy supplies, and send shockwaves through global markets. Diplomatic channels remain open, but they are now under immense pressure. The sequence of events has been rapid. U.S. strikes on July 12, followed by Iranian retaliation against American military assets in Kuwait. Both sides now appear locked in a dangerous cycle of action and counteraction. One more strike could trigger another. One more miscalculation could widen the war. And with U.S. military assets now directly hit in Kuwait, the fragile peace in the Gulf may be closer than ever to breaking point.
Alright, next one.
Europe River Cruising, 13 days, $29.99, including flights with Holiday Map.
Asia. For yet another day in a row, Iran and the United States have exchanged fire. It's a dangerous new phase. But is this going to become the new normal for West Asia? As far as Donald Trump is concerned, it's been a new day and a seemingly old threat. He has once again threatened to strike Iran's bridges and power plants next week if Iran does not return to talks. In fact, in a Fox News interview, Trump was asked if he believes that the Iranians are serious about making a deal. You know what he said? According to him, they have no choice. That's what Trump reportedly said. But is that really the case? As of now, Iran continues to up the ante, both through high voltage attacks as well as sharpened rhetoric. In fact, Iran has been reportedly turning mobile phones into tracking weapons, allegedly hunting US troops through their phones. Here's how. According to a report in the Financial Times, as per telecom data, cybersecurity experts, officials familiar with the matter, US military personnel and contractors in the region were allegedly targeted through a coordinated phone tracking campaign before and during the conflict. Let's just break it down for you. What the report says, they appear to have been exploiting weaknesses in mobile phones roaming systems using something which is called SS7 pings. SS7 pings. They could have been used as a tool. What exactly are they? They can basically reveal the approximate location of phones connected to foreign networks. Investigators also believe that commercially available smartphone advertising data may have been used to identify the locations of certain devices. The immediate question has been, who exactly is being suspected of carrying this out?
I'm gonna say if the Iranians doing that, you know damn well Esau do the same thing for you Israelites hunting us down. And shit. Well, they do that all the time anyway, following us.
Reportedly, officials in Gulf countries suspected Iran or groups allied with it. The tracking attempts reportedly began in the period leading up to the US-Israeli military operation against Iran in late February and continued reportedly during the early days of the war when Iran launched missile and drone attacks against the US forces and military sites across the region. Experts reportedly have said it's too early to directly connect the surveillance to individual missile or drone strikes. But they also noted that military targeting typically relies on multiple intelligence sources, not just digital location data as such. And the US Central Command also reportedly said it had received several threat reports about adversaries exploiting commercial location data, but added that it took extensive protective measures. A US official reportedly said claims that phone tracking played a significant role in the attacks were, quote-unquote, a departure from the facts. But here's the thing. A 2024 Pentagon Inspector General review reportedly had already found that the military had not fully addressed smartphone-related vulnerabilities. In fact, former intelligence officials also said smartphones generate large amounts of location and usage data that can possibly reveal a person's movements even if the phone itself is never hacked, especially when personnel carry personal devices alongside secure government phones. Meanwhile, the region continues to witness high-intensity attacks. Iran's Revolutionary Guards earlier said they struck facilities used by the U.S. Fifth Fleet in Bahrain. According to state television, after the U.S. strikes on Iranian territory, Iran in fact struck a critical facility in Kuwait on Wednesday itself, causing multiple massive explosions and starting a fire. Eyewitness video released earlier showed the moment a drone hit a warehouse in a port town in Kuwait. Iran has also threatened to halt all Mid-East energy exports after the US blockade. It's a major implication. And with drones striking Jordan and other parts in the region, the attacks have continued along with sharpened rhetoric for a 5th day in a row. That's what the region has been witnessing. And as far as Donald Trump is concerned, like we said, it's been another day and a seemingly old threat. He had earlier warned and threatened that he could strike Iran's bridges and power plants next week if Iran does not return to talks. But what really is Trump's strategy? Remember, Trump earlier reversed a threat of a 20% fee on all Strait of Hormuz cargo shipping, but resumed blockading Iranian ports. In fact, America has threatened to reopen the strait by force. But then here's the thing. Is that even possible? Experts reportedly have assessed and pointed out that it will require a much bigger armada, if not tens of thousands of American troops on Iranian soil. If there is one thing that Trump seems to have excelled in, it is the art of taking U-turns. A series of them. After threatening to intensify attacks against Iran, will he make yet another U-turn is the question, or is this going to be yet another endless conflict for the United States? What?
Yeah, it's going to be, no, it's going to be an end. It ain't going to be endless. It's going to be an end. Especially when them nukes get to fly by them ICBMs. Yeah. That's when it's going to come to the end, when they make contact to America. A whole bunch of, millions of warheads. I don't know, there's hundreds of millions of warheads. I don't know, there's millions of them. Let me play this. This is new. Can Pakistan afford another war?
The espionage war surrounding...
Saying like they got a Mossad, I guess they got a rat, a spy, whatever.
Hezbollah has intensified in recent months, with the group facing allegations of security breaches and possible infiltration within its own networks. Now, in the latest development, Lebanese authorities have arrested a man accused of betraying Hezbollah from the inside. Lebanese investigators even say that he was an Israeli spy who helped identify targets for the assassination of some of Hezbollah's top military leaders. If confirmed, the case would mark one of the most damaging intel failures the Iran-backed group has suffered in years. A Lebanese judicial official involved in the investigation described the suspect to AFP as a high-level Israeli agent with close access to Hezbollah's leadership. According to Arab media, the suspect allegedly passed high, precise intel to Israel. This leading to deadly assassination of at least 4 of Hezbollah's top security commanders in the year 2024, which include Fouad Shokar and Ibrahim Aqil.
Alright, whatever. Let's see what this is about.
Mike Collins voted.
You know what? Fuck that shit. Cause they're like 40 minutes in. Let's stay on the list.
Donald Trump believed 4 months of relentless high-intensity air operations would teach Iran a lesson. He thought his fighter jets would show the world one thing, that the United States is still the undisputed superpower. Trump assumed...
Yeah, and they were very gay, too. Very, very funny.
The air raids would terrify America's rivals.
And hold on, what did the title says? It says Iran war lesson. Was it Russia, China to triple? Oh, hypersonic missile arsenal. Well, America, it's funny. America hasn't been saying much about. They said they had a hypersonic missiles. They were showing them off. But were they using them? Are they using them? I don't know. Or is it just a bunch? It's just a flex. I don't usually like using slang talk, but is it just a flex? Like they are just bullshitting, pretty much, saying they have something that they really don't. Because the damn sure haven't heard much about hypersonic missiles, America using them. It's always China or Russia using hypersonic missiles.
That did not happen. Instead, Russia and China just sat back, tracked America's military operations, looked at the scorecard, and took home a completely different lesson. According to US assessments, Moscow and Beijing have reached the same conclusion. Invest in hypersonic missiles. A lesson they learned not from the world's biggest military, but from the sanctioned, diplomatically isolated Iran. This war has shown us one thing: drones and jets can be spotted. They can.
I was gonna say another thing too about drones, but yeah, they can shoot them down.
Be intercepted and they can be shot down. But hypersonic missiles have no counter, because these weapons travel at.
But nobody can't touch them. And I thought, hey, America What's going on? Y'all supposed to have something. And you would think they have hypersonic missile defense systems. You have, I guess they'll use hypersonic missiles to shoot down hypersonic missiles. But I don't know.
Mach 5, which is 5 times the speed of sound.
Or use a laser to shoot them down.
They can outrun, outmaneuver, and outsmart the world's best defense systems. And that's exactly why Russia and China are betting on them. Let me begin with Russia. Vladimir Putin has 2 stars in his hypersonic arsenal, the Kinzhal and the Avangard. A few weeks ago, Putin spoke about them in great detail. Listen to this.
We began working on the Avangard intercontinental range missile system in 2004.
Oh, intercontinental. But is it? Well, yeah, intercontinental. Yeah. But I guess it'd be the saying intercontinental be, he doesn't say ballistic missile, but yeah.
And it has been on combat duty since 2019.
But those would be a little bit too big.
We then introduced the Kinzhal medium-range air launch.
Okay, now there we go. Yeah, because the intercontinental, that's a little too big to be using for, you know, yo. I guess I don't know much about war and what language can you use. When you use the intercontinental, you got to go to another country and send that shit off far, far away, or to another continent. But these mid-range ones, these like you can hit somebody 100 yards away. Maybe 100 yards, 100 miles away, maybe 50 miles away, you know.
Hypersonic missile, which has been on combat duty since 2017. It is already being used during the special military operation, but we continue
They've
working
been having a hypersonic missile since then.
on improving it.
Let me first tell you about the Kinzhal. This is an air-launched hypersonic missile. It can reach speeds of up to Mach 10. That's more than 12,000 kilometers per hour. And it has hit targets 2,000 kilometers away. The Kinzhal has been repeatedly used against Ukraine. The other hypersonic weapon in Russia's arsenal is the Avangard. This is the world's fastest missile. It can reach speeds up to Mach 20. That's 25.
That should be the intercontinental ballistic missile.
1,000 kilometers per hour.
Can't be intercepted. It can't be. The Lord has given these niggas. Oh my goodness, they can't touch these folk, bro.
There is no air defense system in the world that can intercept this missile. Clearly, the Avangard is Putin's trump card, no pun intended. According to the Pentagon, Russia makes about 100 hypersonic missiles every year. By 2035...
I wonder, I'm off the subject, but I was wondering, I'm always seeing her more on this, first post. I don't know what happened to the other chick. I don't know what happened to her, but whatever. I just seeing her a whole lot more. But it used to be I forgot her name. I don't know the female name, but it was an older chick on here. They got a young chick on here. Anyway.
Russia is expected to have 1,000 of them. Now let me tell you about China. If Russia's strategy is intimidation, China's philosophy is industrialization. Beijing has 2 main hypersonic systems. The first is Dongfeng 17. This missile travels at Mach 10 and can travel up to 2,000 kilometers. But the most serious threat comes from the
18.
Dongfeng 26. This missile has a speed of Mach 18, that's 22,000 kilometers per hour. And it has a peculiar nickname, the Guam Killer, because the missile can reach US bases in the Pacific Ocean, particularly those on Guam Island. But China's real edge is in its factories. According to the Pentagon, China can make 370 hypersonic missiles every year. Beijing will have almost 4,000 missiles by 2035. In the next 10 years, Russia and China will have a combined arsenal of 5,000 hypersonic weapons. Naturally, Washington is worried. The White House has raised the alarm because the United States is being outmatched and outclassed in the hypersonic race. Compared to Russia and China, the US only has a handful of hypersonic missiles. Those two have not been...
Hold on, wait a minute.
Because the United States is being outmatched and outclassed in the hypersonic race. Compared to Russia and China, the US only has a handful of hypersonic missiles. Those...
And where are they? They were talking all that talk like, yeah, we in the hypersonic game now. Hypersonic missile game. And I'm like, we ain't heard nothing about these niggas even using them. Unless Amalek used them all up, or I don't know.
Two have not been fully inducted They are still undergoing
Oh, they're still on the testing, right?
testing.
Right. So they're still behind. They're still lagging behind. Yeah, anyway. But they're still the superpower. Whatever.
But there hasn't been much to celebrate.
Hey man, I might well get to this scripture, man. They superpower, but the Lord is. I'm not on neither side, but I like to hear that America's losing. They're losing this when it comes to technology, advanced war technology and such. They losing at that, and the Lord is giving these heathen nations a one up on America. Joel chapter 3 verse 9. Proclaim ye. Hold on, let me throw it over here. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up, beat their plowshares into swords and their pruning hooks into spears, let the weak say I'm strong. There was a time when Russia and China was considered weak, but now they are strong. Even including Iran, but now they're strong. Especially with the help of China and Russia, but ultimately the help of Yahweh Shema Shah, to show that, hey, America got adversaries that can bring some shit to their ass.
The U.S. has witnessed
and
multiple.
They're gonna bring a lot of it too when they do the final finishing move on America when it comes to nuclear destruction.
Failed launches. At least 8 failures have been reported in the last 5 years. That brings me to the Iran war. Russia and China seem like ordinary spectators, but they have sniffed out America's Achilles heel. Fighter jets and strategic bombers have limitations. They need to refuel and rearm, not to mention each mission puts the pilots at risk.
One thing, China, I think their jets are shitty. That's what they saying. Some of their jets are very shitty.
On the contrary, missiles maximize on damage. They are cheap.
I know nobody ain't really buying them damn jets from China, because them bitches are fucking up.
But they are deadlier. We've already seen that in videos. US-made air defense systems worth billions of dollars have failed. Iranian missiles have shattered America's image. The United States has learned its lessons. It is racing to build interceptors. On the contrary, Moscow and Beijing are building hypersonic missiles. Those may seem like two very different races, but if the Iran war is the dress rehearsal, Russia and China have booked VIP seats. They are sitting in the front row. They are taking notes faster than anyone else.
The world moves fast. Power shifts. Unexpected developments.
Welcome to the WION podcast. In this episode, we explore how the enormous B-2 Spirit turns physical scale into electromagnetic invisibility, using its flying wing shape, radar-absorbing materials, and buried engines to appear no larger than a bird on enemy radar screens and systems. The B-2 Spirit has a wingspan of 172 feet, making it wider than a Boeing 737-800 is long. Yet the bomber measures only 69 feet from nose to trailing edge, giving it the broad, flat appearance of a true flying wing. With a maximum takeoff weight of more than 336,000 pounds, this is not a small aircraft that happens to be difficult to detect. It is one of the world's largest military aircraft, engineered to appear almost invisible. People who stand near it often react with surprise. Photographs and videos rarely capture the experience of seeing a wing stretch 86 feet in both directions from its centerline. Because the aircraft sits low and flat, it fills the viewer's entire horizontal field of vision, appearing far larger than many first-time witnesses expect. Its exact radar cross-section remains classified, but open-source estimates place it at roughly 1/10 of a square meter. A large bird may measure about 1/100th.
All that damn money just to be, I guess it's to be sneaky, stealthy, and they could be investing in hypersonic missiles. Anyway, and maybe some cheap-ass drones. Do it like your adversaries. Instead, they building something. Oh, they could be sneaky to drop bombs on your ass, and whatever.
Of a square meter, while a conventional large aircraft can exceed 100 square meters. In other words, an aircraft 172 feet wide may appear on radar as something small enough to hold in your hand. This is possible because radar visibility depends on reflected energy rather than physical size. The bomber's carefully angled surfaces redirect radar waves away from their source, while radar-absorbing materials convert some of that energy into heat. Its physical presence and electromagnetic appearance are therefore almost completely different. The wingspan places the aircraft among aviation's giants, close to the B-52 and not far behind the Boeing 747-400 or the C-5 Galaxy. Unlike those aircraft, however, the flying wing structure serves as both wing and fuselage. Its crew, engines, weapons, and fuel are all contained inside that enormous aerodynamic surface. 4 General Electric F118 engines are buried deep within the wing, with exhaust channeled through specially designed outlets. This reduces both heat and noise. At air shows, witnesses often hear a muted, difficult-to-locate sound before spotting the bomber, which can pass overhead and disappear before the expected roar arrives. That is the central paradox of the B-2 Spirit. To the human eye, it is immense, unmistakable, and unlike anything else in the sky. On enemy radar, it can appear little larger than a bird. It is built to be seen during air shows, photographs, and deterrence missions, yet remain unseen when the mission truly demands it. Thanks for tuning in.
The Lord gave Esau some blessings, though. Yeah, but not shit.
When I win, I will immediately bring prices down, starting on
shit.
Hey everyone, it's Dina Kalmeta here, and for today's news, I do have some updates I'd like to share with you, and please forgive me for not appearing on camera. I'm actually feeling a little bit under the weather, but I still wanted to bring you some news. And for today, I'd like to start with China, because I'm getting some very concerning headlines. It's being reported that new satellite imagery analyzed by The Telegraph appears to show China constructing a detailed, full-scale model of a U.S. Navy Arleigh Burke-class destroyer at a missile testing range over there in their desert. Additional mock targets reportedly resemble military aircraft, naval facilities, and important sites in Taiwan. Now, analysts believe that these replicas may be used to improve China's ability to locate, track, and strike with their precision weapons. Now, the headlines that I'm getting is that China plans to bomb U.S. ships, and China trains to target U.S. ships. But it goes on to report that this is significant because Arleigh Burke destroyers are among the U.S. Navy's most important air and missile defense ships and could play a central role in any U.S. response to an attack or blockade of Taiwan. China's strategy appears designed not only to overpower Taiwan's defenses, but also to prevent or punish U.S. forces attempting to intervene. So in plain English, China's goal would be to keep American aircraft carriers, destroyers, and support ships far enough away that the U.S. could not effectively defend Taiwan. And with the United States already stretched across Europe and the Middle East, Beijing is undoubtedly watching how quickly American forces and weapons could be redirected to the Pacific. Now, to go with that, there's another report coming out of the Wall Street Journal that apparently China is aggressively patrolling the disputed waters, and we talked about this last week. But now the U.S. Coast Guard is also moving in. It goes on to say that U.S. Coast Guard ships previously deployed in the Middle East are now operating out of Singapore and the Philippines to help challenge China's assertion of power in the Pacific. The Coast Guard deployment is the latest step in Washington's efforts to deter Beijing from moving on Taiwan or South China Sea features that are also claimed by other countries, including the Philippines and Vietnam. Now, with that being said, the U.S. military has been expanding its presence in the Philippines, a U.S. treaty ally that would likely be a key operating base in any war over Taiwan. With Singapore, the U.S. has a long-standing agreement to use its naval facility to support certain U.S. activities. Beijing has also been leaning on its Coast Guard as it seeks to enforce control over an area through which trillions of dollars of trade passes each year. Chinese Coast Guard ships have intercepted Philippine vessels seeking access to military outposts or local fishing grounds, even at times using water cannons and other pressure tactics to ward them off. Analysts are saying that the U.S. Coast Guard ships could help make up for the U.S. military vessels that were moved to the Middle East to support U.S. operations during the Iranian war. So the Coast Guard is one way of maintaining a U.S. presence when the U.S. Navy is clearly so much in demand in the Strait of Hormuz and the Middle East. So definitely some very concerning headlines there. China is literally preparing. They're not just watching, they are preparing in how they would deal with the United States if they were to go into Taiwan, which we know eventually they will. But let's talk about what's going on with NATO and Russia. Express News is reporting that NATO has once again been forced to scramble fighter jets to intercept a Russian plane over the Baltic Sea. The Polish fighters intercepted a Russian Tu-20 aircraft that was conducting a flight over the Baltic. Apparently, the Russian plane had not filed a flight plan, and it was traveling with its transponders turned off. The aircraft was carrying out a reconnaissance mission in international airspace, says the Polish Operational Command. The on-duty pair of Air Force fighters successfully intercepted, visually identified, and escorted escorted the aircraft away from the area of responsibility. Breitbart's reporting that Ukraine will produce French-made cruise missiles, precision-guided bombs, and air defense interceptor missiles through a license granted by Paris. President Macron revealed that France has issued the license to Ukraine for the manufacturing of the missiles, and this actually marks the first time that France has granted such a provision to Ukraine. So obviously, Russia's not going to be too happy about that. Now, with that in mind, Lithuania's president has warned that Russia could be planning attacks on infrastructure with security around energy and transport sites to be tightened as a precaution. He said that the Lithuanian intelligence services picked up signals of a potential provocation, but they did not identify a specific place or time. So again, we hear about Russia possibly looking for trouble, so to speak, with these other nations. Let's talk about what Ukraine has been up to. It's being reported that apparently they sunk a Russian ship. Ukraine's Navy announced on July 14th that it had struck and sunk a Russian border patrol ship approximately 186 miles from the front line. According to Ukrainian officials, the vessel was hit by a Sargon 3000 Navy drone, resulting unfortunately in fatalities and injuries among the crew. And it's being reported that revenge will be inevitable. So obviously things are continuing to escalate between Ukraine and Russia. In the meanwhile, the Pentagon opened Wednesday morning by announcing yet another round of strikes on Iran in what looks like sustained action, also increasingly expanding to include civil and energy infrastructure of the Islamic Republic. CENTCOM announced that the strikes are designed to further degrade military capabilities that Iranian forces have used to attack commercial shipping in the strait. The U.S. military further indicated it launched a 7-hour wave of strikes overnight. The evening prior, the U.S. reimposed a naval blockade on Iranian ports and alongside launching its 4th consecutive night of strikes on the country, as President Trump freshly warned that if Iran does not return to the negotiating table, things are going to get really bad for them because next week comes the power plants. He said, you better make a deal or you're not going to have anything left. Ultimately, we'll hit energy targets in Iran. Next week comes the bridges. We're going to knock out all of their power plants. We'll knock out all of their bridges unless they get to the table and negotiate.
How come they didn't do that in the first place? They said they were going to do that like a month ago or 2 months ago. For real. But they didn't do that yet.
Israel National News is reporting
the bridges, the power plants, they didn't do that yet.
That Netanyahu is aiming to meet with President Trump next week, though no official meeting between the two leaders has been scheduled at this stage. Earlier on Tuesday, Axios reported that Trump told Netanyahu during a phone call on Thursday that Israel should begin redeploying its forces from Syria and encouraged him to do the same in Lebanon. A U.S. official told the news website that Trump told Netanyahu that the Israeli military presence in Syrian territory was creating tensions and could lead to escalation. The official quoted Trump as saying, "They don't want you there, you should redeploy." So very interesting words coming from President Trump. We'll see what Netanyahu does with that. There is also a report from Euronews, and this has actually been reported by other sources, but Trump said that his administration is looking into whether Iran has stored drones and missiles in Cuba and warned that Washington will act if it's confirmed. Asked by reporters about the intelligence report pointing to this possibility of weapons on Cuba, the president replied bluntly, "If they have them, and it's very possible that they do, we'll take care of it." So definitely not a good situation, you guys, if Cuba is letting Iran store missiles or drones there, because obviously
probably
they can be used against the United States, the mainland. So we'll see what happens. Some other headlines: Iran threatens to turn region into HE double hockey sticks as U.S. strikes southern Iran. Netanyahu has warned Iranian leaders an attack will be answered powerfully. So it looks like the Iranian war is going right back into full gear unless they come back to the negotiating table. Now, we need to remember that Iran isn't going anywhere because they are in the book of Ezekiel, chapters 38-39, and mentioned as one of the nations that will be involved in the Gog-Magog war.
I was like, I see it was 11:11 on the clock. As soon as I brought it up, it was 11:11, and then 44 seconds popped up too. All praise Yahweh Shema Shah, the body Yahweh Shema Shah, and that like perfect timing too.
And they are noted in those books as Persia. So definitely some very interesting.
What did she say?
And mentioned as one of the nations that will be involved in the Gog-Magog war. So remember that Iran isn't going anywhere because they are in the book of Ezekiel, chapters 38-39, and mentioned as one of the nations that will be involved in the Gog-Magog war. And they are noted in those books as Persia. So definitely some very interesting headlines today. I'd love to get your thoughts. What do you guys think about Cuba, the possibility of Iranian missiles that close to the mainland? What about China and an open war with them? And then, of course, there's NATO and Russia. Let me know in the comments. But again, I just wanted to bring you guys a really quick update today. When you have a free moment, come and visit me on our new website, thedakreport.com.
last video. Oh, before I go going, all that talk about missiles and such, and I totally forgot to read this. I know it's late, but hey, I'm gonna read it anyway. Isaiah chapter 19, verse 5. For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. Yeah, when all those missiles they were talking about, hypersonic missiles, what China and Russia got. That's what I wanted to read, and I forgot about it, but I read it, and then let's move back on to this video coming from the Hopeful Elect 3. U.S. troops are going to get smoked. What is Joel chapter 2, verse 20? But I will remove far off from you the northern. Hold on, let me lower the speed. Alright, the northern army, and will drive him into a land barren and desolate, with his face toward the east sea, and his hinder part toward the uttermost sea, and his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he have done great things.
But people don't understand the only way that this Iran war
a lot of people gonna die, a lot of soldiers gonna die,
is going to end is with boots on the ground.
a lot of Americans gonna die.
That's it. That's the only way that it ends in an outcome that's acceptable to the United States of America, where there's no tolls on the Strait or Hormuz, and there is open shipping. All the things we had before we launched this activity in Iran. But now that we've, kind of done what we did just because we think we can do whatever we want to do, these are going to be the consequences of it. So people either need to get on board with a full-scale invasion, or we need to get the fuck out and give Iran whatever the fuck they want, because there's no in between. All right, we're just going to keep having this tit for tat that will result in the Strait being open or the Strait being closed, and primarily being closed most of the time until Iran gets what they want, because now they have a noose around the neck of not only the United States but the world. So the only way to remove that is to take the action and go over and do it. And Americans and the world in general are not willing to risk 300,000 or 400,000 or 500,000 troops. It would probably take every bit of 500,000 troops on the ground, whether it's all the U.S. or a coalition, which, we know Donald Trump's not going to engage in any type of a coalition. So 500,000 Americans exposed to a war environment in order to...
But what, they got to go... How they gonna invade a country? Well, shit. What is it? Mountainous regions and such. From one side, and it's like a whole lot of shit. It's like this place has perfectly been set up for America to go on a suicide mission if they try to invade Iran. The Lord set that shit up well, dude. The Lord set that country up well, that it'll be impossible. It'll be a fucking death trap for American soldiers to try to invade this country from probably one direction to this direction. The most people they can bring in is over on the sea off the boats or whatever, but they got to get over the mountaintops or whatever the hell. Anyway, they'll be easily spotted and shot the fuck up. Anyway,
get a satisfactory result. Probably 100,000 casualties. 60-70% of that dead. So are we
in a couple of days
willing to risk 60 or 70,000 American soldiers to go reopen the Strait of Hormuz?
And motherfucking soldiers be too stupid to even be like, man, fuck that shit. It's a suicide mission. But hey, man, the Lord gonna make these people put a spirit on them to go.
Get back to
if the Lord allows it to happen.
What it was before, which that ain't never gonna happen. So that's
I don't know about that.
The scale of what we're dealing with now. And if you aren't ready to or willing to sacrifice that, then you're just going to have to deal with paying more, because that's where we're at. We're going to have to pay more.
Yep. That's all I got to say and play. But seek the Lord by seeking the prophets. Yahweh Shema Shah. Seek him by seeking his prophets and take heed what say and try to build a spiritual mental relationship with Yahweh Shema Shah. By praying Yahweh Shema Shah, praising Yahweh Shema Shah, worshiping Yahweh Shema Shah, fearing Yahweh Shema Shah, and repenting to Yahweh Shema Shah. To all the men out there pushing this truth and nothing but the truth in the name, spirit, and power of Yahweh Shema Shah. Keep on preaching, keep on teaching, keep your faith and trust strong. Yahweh Shema Shah, stay humble. And for you few sisters out there taking heed, keep your faith and trust strong. Yahweh Shema Shah. Stay humble, stay in order with your man. If you ain't got no man, stay in order. Yahweh Shema Shah. Peace and bless to the whole full lake and all praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. Shalom.